Hey guys, I wanted to introduce an idea today. I wanted to help explain why the structure of your brain in some ways makes it very hard to break an addiction. A key idea that I'm going to introduce now is that your brain isn't just your conscious brain, and it isn't just the thing you are thinking about right now. Your brain is distributed all throughout your body, or at least you could say all throughout your nervous system. So you definitely have a lot of brain within your skull, but you've also got brain down through your spinal column, down into the heart, down through the core of your body, even into the genitals. All of that is part of what controls the things that we do each day. If you think about it, our brains give us the means to live in this crazy, diverse, wonderful, but challenging and even risky world. We've got this world that we've got to survive in, and it's a fallen world, so things don't work right all the time. There is danger and risk in it, but there's also beauty in it, and there are people in it, and there are animals, and there are machines, and there are all kinds of things that our bodies and brains are incredibly good at dealing with. When you drive a car, parts of your brain just take care of it. When you climb a flight of stairs, your feet just step and do it without you even having to think about it. When you walk down a sidewalk, you step over the things that might be a problem. You can run across a field, and your brain can process so fast that it can just naturally put your feet where they need to be as you run or you jog. The same thing goes for almost everything you do, whether it's shaving to combing your hair to getting ready in the day, the way you make your coffee in the morning. Everything you do is done by parts of your brain that are have learned how to do these things and just do them without you even thinking about them. The same thing goes for how you interact with other people. So all throughout your day, just like when you're walking along a sidewalk and your feet just do it naturally, or you climb that flight of stairs, you are interacting in life. You're talking to your spouse, you're working with coworkers, you're interacting with your children, and your brain is offering up to you the things to say, the things to do automatically. You barely have to think about any of it. You are thinking about some things, but a lot of things are just coming up for you automatically. So if you think about that, when you are trying to break an addiction, the real battleground is the parts that are suggesting behaviors for dealing with the stressful moment. So you've probably figured out by now, as you're dealing with trying to stop unwanted behaviors, that you will be facing some stressful situation, and while you're thinking about what to do, you start having an idea of the fact that your addictive behavior will give you some relief. You'll start to have the thought press up that, man, if I could just have a beer, or if I could just go act out sexually, if I could just have that drug, if I could just eat a brownie, I would feel better. And the reason that comes up is because at some point in your life, typically at a point of injury or trauma, you you were introduced to this way of handling a stress. And so at that moment in your life, you started to learn, ooh, that is what I can do whenever I feel stressed. And so that part of your brain, just like another part of you can learn to write and another part of you can learn to make coffee, this part of you learned what to do when you're feeling stressed, or when you're feeling shameful, or when you're feeling misunderstood, or when you're angry about a coworker, or when you're pissed off at the driver, in the car next to you. It doesn't matter. You have parts of your brain that are ready to step up and suggest behavior to you in every situation that you face. It's just that we have some behaviors that we've learned after a while do not help, that this is really getting in the way of a healthy life. The fact that I keep you know, looking at pornography, or the fact that I keep taking drugs, the fact that I keep drinking. So the big question becomes, how the heck do I stop this? How do I get a hold of myself so that I don't go do these things that my brain is suggesting? And and there's a long answer to this, but I'm going to give you a big overview. Or let me try to make that a small overview. Let me give you an overview. And that is, the real breakthrough will come when you learn to investigate an emotion rather than react to it. So, the way that your lower parts of the brain get you to act is through emotion, generally, with regard to these kinds of situations. So, when you're in the middle of a stressful situation, you're going to have an emotion that comes up that pushes you forward, that says, hey, go act out. That's going to give you some relief. And it might even start as far back as the stress, that stress is the emotion, or the argument that you had with a spouse is the emotion, or the argument with a boss, or just a tough situation, or whenever this happens in my life, I get to go act out. It could start as far back as there. But you've got some, triggering event, and that triggering event causes you to feel things, and those emotions cause you to start moving towards your addictive behavior. Your brain does the same thing in every scenario, that your brain suggests things to do in all the different scenarios of life that you face. It's just that this scenario is costly. It's hurting you when you act out, so you've got to stop it. So I started to say that when you feel that emotion, that instead of letting an emotion drive your behavior, and instead of reacting to that emotion, instead sit back and evaluate that emotion. So that's going to be the first main idea, which is let strong emotions cause you to go inside and start to think about that emotion. I said in a previous video that you've got to feel your feelings. The idea there is, don't just go medicate the feeling, feel it. Well, to build on that idea, the presence of a strong feeling is an opportunity to investigate. You're going to go investigate internally at and look around for what's going on with that emotion. So a lot of psychology is going to come out of these next few concepts. But the main thing that this will lead you to down the road is to first start to look at, what was the source of this emotion? Like, start with, where is it in my body? Where am I feeling it? Then consider, where did I learn and start first feeling this emotion and start learning to react to it in this way? And then another thing you're going to have to come to grips with is, hey, my frontal lobes, my thinking brain, my conscious brain has an idea of what to do here in this particular stressful situation, but it's not congruent with what my lower brain or these other parts of my brain are suggesting. So our goal as we start to investigate those feelings is to find that discontinuity and to start working to resolve it. So, as I said, you're going to feel the emotion. You're going to sit with that emotion without acting out. You're going to start asking about that emotion, going inside. What's going on with this emotion? And you can actually speak to that part, and you'll notice that that part will respond to you. Like, why do I want to do this so bad? And sometimes you'll hear answers right from that part. That, well, if I don't do that, then it means I'm not loved, or it means I'll be rejected, or if this happens, then, I'll just die. I can't face that. And after a while, you start to realize that that wasn't your conscious mind, that it was some other part offering you its belief. So when you go inside, the thing to investigate, the thing you're asking for is, what do you believe? You've got a part in there that believes something, and it's not in alignment with what you now understand as an adult, because that part learned that behavior and that reaction at some early point in your life, probably when you're 5 or something. So you've got these parts that learn to react to life early in your life that are now not in alignment with what you have come to learn through your experience, through your faith, through your values that you've built over the years, the principles that you live by. But you've got a part that never learned that. And now it keeps asking you to act out of alignment with what you now believe. But if you'll go inside and you'll investigate that feeling and you'll start asking it, hey, where is that coming from? What do you believe? And as you start to find those misalignments, that you have a part of you that thinks something is going on that isn't true. It thinks you'll be rejected. It thinks you're not loved. It thinks that you'll be humiliated. But another part of you up here says, that's not true. It's not going to happen. As you find those misalignments, you will set the stage for the healing that can come on the backside of that. So I'll talk about that in the next video. So what I'm suggesting at this time, one, recognize that you've got parts of your brain that are suggesting ways of interacting with the world that are not in alignment with your current value system. And they're not in alignment because they learned those things a long time ago when you had a different value system. And the things that you learn worked in the context in which you were placed at the time, but now you're in a different place in your life. You have a different value system. You know things that you didn't know then, but that part of your brain hasn't learned a new behavior and way of reacting, and it's automatically reacting, and it's trying to get you to react in obedience to what it learned a long time ago. So in the next video, we're going to talk a little bit about EMDR. We're going to talk about internal family systems. We're going to talk about parts therapy. We're going to talk about the things that can help you to get behind those feelings and manage the behaviors that they're suggesting, and how to actually rehabilitate some of those suggestions. But at the moment, just start the process of recognizing that you have a strong emotion, sitting with that feeling, and going to explore what's going on with that feeling. Okay? All right, I'll see you in the next video.